Hey y'all, welcome back to Movement Link. So we did a video about insulin sensitivity and why it's important to keep your body sensitized to the hormone insulin and how that can affect your overall health, chronic conditions people go through, and weight loss, and how it contributes to weight gain. And so a big part of what we try and do is we try and just make sure that your body is sensitive to insulin like it naturally should be. So we don't want you not eating fruits, and we don't need to completely avoid things that spike your blood sugar. So if we're eating fruit, we want to eat it in portions about the size of your fist. Things like potatoes, sweet potatoes, beans, these types of things, we want to keep those same considerations in. So when we're thinking of eating foods that do have that higher natural sugar content, so remember, we want to avoid added sugar, and we want to avoid things like honey and maple syrup and these things that seem like they're natural sugar. But we don't want to avoid the actual real food sugar that comes along with a bunch of micronutrients. So there are better and worse times throughout the day to eat these things, and if we do them in the right spot, especially when we have the goal of losing weight, we can get all the nutrients and all of the benefits of it, and we can really minimize its impact on our insulin sensitivity. So the times of day, and we talk a lot about eating windows. And so we try and get people to eat within an 8 to 12 hour window, or the first time you consume anything. So first consumption, 12 hours later should be when you're finishing your last meal. So this first consumption can be coffee, tea. I did a video where we kind of talk about what kicks this off and why it kicks it off, and does it kick it off all the way or partially, yada yada yada. But in the morning, your first consumption has an added benefit to it. You're much more sensitive to insulin, meaning if we spike our blood sugar a little bit higher in the morning, our body releases insulin, and the insulin that gets released is handled better. And we don't need to just pump and pump and pump and over pump insulin in to get our body to handle the higher blood sugar. So the times a day that are most beneficial to eat those higher sugary, natural sugary foods like fruits are going to be right at the very start, your first meal of the day. That's going to be the best time for it. The other time is right after a workout. You're very insulin sensitive. So a post-workout meal, if you're doing a little post-workout shake or something, that's a really good time. Not only are you going to restore the glycogen into your muscles and everything, and it's great for recovery, but also your body's very sensitive to insulin after a workout, and so that's a great time for it. So those are things we're trying to consider. If you're going to get a few servings of fruits and vegetables in during your day. Ideally, especially if you're trying to lose weight, we just want to be very aware of how it's going to affect our insulin sensitivity. And so the first part of the day, right after a workout, and then keeping it within that 8 to 12 hour eating window is going to be extremely important. And then as we're having high carbohydrate, high sugar foods outside of those times, is going to have a much higher impact on the amount of insulin and our cells' ability to understand what they're supposed to be doing based on that hormone that's getting released. So just something to consider. Once you kind of have everything figured out and in place, and you're at the weight you want to be, and you're sensitive to insulin, you don't really need to think about this stuff too much. You only need to check in on it if you're having an issue. But as you're trying to lose weight, if you can restrict all of those high sugary things to be first meal right after a workout and keep it within that eating window, it'll help supercharge that weight loss. Hope that helps. Talk to y'all soon.